Cool. Three, two, one. We're live. Welcome to another installment of the Cool Kids Table podcast. I got three guests on today. We got my homies, Israel Flores. He was on episode 1 and 17. Steven Kanady was on episode 16. And Iran Rodriguez was on episode 6. They're all coming in. Cool. Let me just put their mics on. Steven, you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, sir.
Izzy, you hear me loud and clear?
Yeah.
Iran, you hear me loud and clear?
And
Cool, let's do it. Real quick, Iran, say hello.
Hi.
Cool, that's his voice. Izzy?
Yayo.
All right, and Steven.
I'm here.
All right, so technical difficulties, so we're starting from scratch. Let's just jump into, what do you guys want to jump into? We talked COVID, but it was just kind of a little echoey, a little birdy. So we're just starting from scratch. So I don't think they missed much. I mean, it's good content, but I feel like once you start talking about it again, we miss a lot of points because it feels like we already heard it. So you're not really the question to back it up or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't really want to bring it up. And maybe people want an escape from the corona. So that might be a blessing in disguise.
Okay.
Leadership. Everybody knows I'm not a Trump supporter. Everybody knows I'm pretty sure how you guys feel about it, but do you guys think this, not all of it falls on him, but maybe if we had a better leader or somebody take accountability and kind of be informed on the subject, things would have gone down differently?
I'll start on that. So I think so obviously he doesn't do everything, but he did assign some people who are not qualified to the government, who now we would probably need better qualified people that would be better qualified, like just would do a better job overall, you know. So I think even the sign, I think he did that group to like reopen that. It was like 8 people, and he like assigned his daughter and her husband, which they're like known to not be the smartest people, you know. So I think a lot of it falls back to him. But overall, I think it's everybody just thinking that something like this could never happen. You know?
Izzy?
Yeah, I don't think it's Trump's fault that this happened, but I mean, the way he handled it, I mean, he's obviously failing, but I mean, he's doing anything different than what I expected him to do. You know, he has his own interest first, and it's political. So he's making all the best political moves he thinks that's going to benefit himself. And if we had somebody else, I mean, I don't know, dude. We have a lot of corrupt politicians. I don't know how other politicians would handle it. I know they would have their own interests first before the people. I mean, I think it's a rare group of people that would actually.
Izzy, sounds a little echoey, staticky. Are we good on your end?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Any noise in the background? Because you were fine before we disconnected, but it just sounds like.
Let me see if it's my fan. I have a fan on. I don't know.
It might
if
be
it's
blaming you. It might be Ryan. All right, continue. Sorry about that.
Yeah. So I don't want to speculate that somebody else would do it better, but I mean, Trump's doing what Trump does. You know, it's not.
He's a narcissist.
One more time, Steven.
He's a narcissist.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like he's trying to do something to, like, I guess you could say, like, he's put his hand in the bag trying to pull a hero shield out. You know what I mean? And I think that it's kind of fucking him in the long run, because it's just, I mean, like Izzy said, it's obvious it's failing. And then people that are getting, like, when people come up, dude, and you know, when they're addressing everybody and shit like that, and he talks, you can see the people behind him like, what the fuck is this guy saying? You know, like, so it's you never know, like, if there's somebody different, with the job they would do. But I mean, fuck, he's what we have right now. I'm not a fan. I don't think that he is the right person for the job.
How many people do you think have to die for people to start turning on him? Because we're already at 50,000.
I don't think there's a number.
You don't think there's a number
for people to start? The people that are on his train are on his train. They're not getting off. If you saw them protest these past 2 weeks, they're on for good.
I need a haircut. I need a haircut.
Yeah, dude, that's ridiculous. And it's, I mean,
have you heard any good like protester like point of views that make sense?
one more time, the first part kind of cut off.
Have you guys ever heard any conversation or any point of view that from a protester that made sense? Like that, you're like, okay, I get it. I get why you're protesting.
One.
I don't think we're not talking shit that they're protesting. We're talking shit that they're protesting right now at this moment, especially with all the information that we have.
One part that maybe we should touch on for what Iran was saying, the speculation, the conspiracy theories. Not that I agree with them, but if they're believing that this is just some democratic hoax, the China hoax, they feel like they're making me lose my job. They don't give a fuck about me. Trump's the only one looking out for me. And he's saying open these fucking states. So that's why we need to open them, So not that I agree with them, but in their shoes, they think they're doing the right thing. Like, there's signs out there. There's pictures of it. Sacrifice a week, like people holding these signs. Like, so it's not that they're unaware of the people dying. It's that they're willing to sacrifice some people dying for them to go fucking get their haircut. Because one thing that you notice is it doesn't say, let me go back to work. Let me fucking open up my business. It says, I need a haircut. I need Chick-fil-A. So they're willing to sacrifice your life because they don't think they're going to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just is a fucking, like people that how we touched on before, like a lot of people I think that it was a hoax or being over exaggerated. And I think because those people would maybe not know anybody who's been affected by it directly, the more wealthy of the few, I think that's kind of what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like those people are straight. If all you're worried about is a fucking haircut and not where your fucking rent check's gonna come from, I think there's a bigger issue there.
Yeah.
I think so what about those people who don't have money, who don't have, like Steven's saying, who are having trouble keeping up their rent, so I could see that side of the argument, if like people protest, like reopen, like I'm desperate, I need money, I don't qualify, or those $1,200 aren't enough, or whatever it is, maybe the world's shifting, bro. Maybe the world can't handle this type of system anymore. Maybe we have to go to something like some Andrew Yang type of shit, where we get a certain amount of money each month, and like for these types of situations. Yeah, man. The rich, some of the rich are fine, but also obviously, like they need income coming in too, right? Like whether they're real estate or whatever.
Well, I mean, like the thing I think a lot of people don't realize, bro. Your financial status is what it is. You know what I mean? If you're making $1 million a year, chances are you have $1 million. You have the bills that $1 million a year creates.
Yeah, for sure.
As well as a minimum wage, or somebody on minimum wage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like everybody's got to pay their bills at the end of the day. And but I feel like the people that are better off are the ones that are, complaining about a fucking haircut.
When that's your worry, I needed a haircut too.
Bro,
I took care of it. Like if that's your biggest worry, you're not worried about your neighbor, worried about your fucking family.
Well, that's
first world problems,
That's that individualistic thinking, right? Like fucking, let's not get universal health care. Let's have, let's just pay for your own family, pay for your own self. It's very individualistic, and that seems to be a pretty Republican type of idea.
Have you guys ever watched Fox News? Or like I've told Israel before, I listen to the Ben Shapiro podcast just to get their perspective, and sometimes
it makes sense or what?
It doesn't make sense at all. But if you're a white middle America person, that's who they're preaching to.
Yeah.
They're not telling you, you could say 50% of whatever this is this, and the liberals will spin it this way. 50% of that, and the Republicans will spin it that way. They just spin it their way. So if you look at the statistics, like a lot of times they don't even got to lie about things. It's just presented in a way that's not untruthful. Yeah. It just sways the conversation that way. Well, and that's what I mean. Like when you look at it from their point of view, it makes sense. But the thing is that it's so biased that they're not giving you the full story. They won't share the stories that don't align with that. And that's why I think, going back to the whole protesters thing is like, they watch CNN and I watch CNN and it's fucking bullshit. And I'm willing to admit that. They watch Fox News and they think it's all true. So when I see CNN and I'm like, dude, this is a bullshit ass article. That's when they run out in that article and talk shit about, look at the liberal media fucking spinning it in their own way. Like, yes, they do. But also Fox News does the same thing and they won't see that.
And both, and I think both CNN and Fox also infiltrate truthful or good articles or good news to confuse the public, right? Because CNN is not all bullshit, and Fox News is not all bullshit either, right? So I think it's just a process of thinking where you got to learn how to break down what seems real, what doesn't seem real. Maybe do your research. Maybe read on it. Maybe do like it can't be handed to you on a silver platter anymore. You can't just take it in and be like, oh, that's all true or it's all fake.
Well, you got to explain to people the trick that they're doing. They do the same trick every single time. It's just knowing how to recognize that trick on both sides. They don't talk about the information in an objective way. They have a purpose on it. They have a certain way of reporting the news because they have an objective, a certain objective. Yeah. So yeah, no, you just gotta know how to watch the news because not all of it's bullshit, but a lot of it is.
Son of a bitch.
But it's a bunch of rich people, right, that own the news stations, and obviously they want to push their way of thinking, right? And
it's a circle jerk.
And that's what it is.
The news. Think about it. Look at these networks. Where do they get their money from?
From sponsorship.
Advertisers, right? Yeah. But advertisers, like they're the wealthiest of the United States. Who do they donate their money to? Politicians. Okay, so they're donating to politicians, not out of like goodwill or anything like that, and they're paying this news station millions and sometimes maybe even billions of dollars a year to run their advertisements, right?
Mm-hmm.
And these news agencies, if they start reporting the news in an accurate way, like let's say these corporations, like what's that chemical company? Well, it starts with an M. Monsanto.
Oh yeah, the one for the farms.
Yeah, something like that. Let's say start report like doing some actual investigative reporting on them, and these companies were like, "Oh, you're gonna start investigating us? You're gonna start reporting us like that? Okay, well, guess what? These billions of dollars that's going your way, bam, it's gonna be cut off." And there's a lot of evidence and stats that show that a lot of the not only the news networks but politicians, a lot of the policies they vote for, it's usually tied with the benefit of their donors, which is usually, obviously, the corporations and the rich people.
Yeah, or you get Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
And they kill yourself.
Yeah.
Hey, so that was just swept under the rug. We're just not going to talk about that anymore, right? Fucking, that's just something that
you know what is not dying, bro. Like you would hope it's dying, but a lot of people still bring it up, man.
But everybody brought up the Kennedy shit for years and nothing ever happened. And is it just gonna be one of those things that happen? And
I think I believe unfortunately, right? Because
these motherfuckers know, bro. These fools ain't trying. You know what I mean? They're not trying to get helped out.
Yeah.
The cameras just suspiciously fucking turned out for those minutes while the guards just fucking fell asleep. Never took a nap at work, but just that day they both took a nap at the same time.
But bro, people are so busy, man. No, I don't even know if it's they don't care or they're just too busy. Maybe the government keeps them so occupied. I mean, like there's no rage in anything, bro. There's enough rage to post some shit and push it on Facebook, right? But you post it up and then you go watch Netflix and then you forget about it, and like there's not enough anger, and maybe you just feel powerless. Like what does one person do against a fucking full system too, right? So it might be that you feel powerless. It might feel that, what for? If it's, I mean, it's also something that's not new, bro. Like, I mean, if you look at history, I mean, it's always been ran that way, right? Like governments have always just had the power and they control the people and it goes their way, bro.
Well, take life is short. Life is short. Do you want to, waste your fucking energy on something that you're probably never going to get any movement on?
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like we could sit here and talk about Epstein and all that shit all day long, but at the end of the day, he still killed himself.
Yeah. Well, it's it's like Dr. Seuss said, right? Like if it only you have to care enough to make a change or to make something happen. And I don't know, like I have trouble with that because like it's so hard for me not to care, bro. It's so hard for me to be like not want to like talk about it. No, I just don't feel. I just don't like. I don't know. I feel like if I think like, oh well, I can't do nothing about it, so I'm just gonna go on my way. I feel like I failed myself, bro, in a sense, like.
But where do you start? Because the Panama Papers came out a few years ago. Hundreds of thousands of millionaires from around the world, fucking hierarchies, royalties, presidents, billionaires are hiding trillions in offshore accounts. It made news for like 2 weeks and then it disappeared.
Oh yeah, that was recently.
Yeah,
it's because the right people got paid to shut up.
And fuck, dude.
Well, I mean, a lot of the people that had money over there work for the news, for CNN, all the news networks. So you think they're gonna cover that shit?
True.
That enrages you. Kids in cages. Kids are still separated from their family. Parents got deported. The kids are defending themselves in court. Like, where do you start? You can't be mad all the time, and you still got to spend time with your friends and your family, deal with your day-to-day issues. So you start talking about it, and then some people, it falls on deaf ears. They're like, dude, I don't got time for
that
this.
Shit will drive you. Yeah. That will drive people to kill themselves, bro, honestly.
Yeah, I guess it can. It's pretty toxic, it is toxic, man. There's too many problems. And you know what? You'll never get a single way of thinking, right? Because that's probably, I mean, I guess you could just work on issues one by one and try to do the most you can in the world while you can. But yeah, everything will not be solved. That's for sure.
Like, I sincerely hope something comes out of this. People are stuck in their homes, with Netflix and AC and fucking food, and they're complaining. I mean, imagine the people in prison for a marijuana sentence, for fucking a burglar sentence when they were 15. They've been there fucking 5-6 years in certain states, and they're stuck in there, 8x10 room, and they got nothing.
And now Netflix is publishing TV shows of how you make food with weed.
cooking with cannabis.
But there's people in jail. That's wild, bro.
And the people that wrote those same laws, dude. Like, and I keep bringing up Georgia just because I know people out there. The people that wrote these laws to incriminate these people are now the ones opening up the legal grow houses, like making hundreds of thousands a month.
Yeah, because they're not stupid. They're, like, fuck it. We're going to get behind, when it's illegal, we're going to get behind it and punish all these fucking people that are taking our money. Because we know what we're going to do.
And for-profit prisons, another thing, like, they don't have enough people in jail, so they're not making money. It's a business. How is prison a business? So then they get with we all have different opinions on cops, right? I hate cops as a whole, not individually. I don't know how you guys feel, but so the cops are in bed with these guys, or maybe not the cop individually, but the fucking stations, to get these fucking people of color incarcerated so that they can make their quota in prison. Like, it's ridiculous, and it's still, that's what I mean. Like, where do you start?
I would change the way you say that. I would say I hate the way the cops are trained. I don't hate cops.
I don't hate cops. I don't mean like any.
Yeah. But you start off a sentence like that, you start off.
You lose the audience. Yeah.
You lose it. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's really important the way you say it. That's one thing I've learned in the past couple of years. It's really, especially if you want to talk about, if you're genuinely want to have a conversation with people about these types of issues that's so like not even taboo. It's just like, it makes people feel a certain way. You have to learn how to talk to different types of people in different types of way, because people respond differently. People have these trigger words that once you say it, bam, they're gone. And it's hard to get them back.
People have different experiences with cops, right? Like, in a lot of lower income communities, you get the experience of like, hey, cops came and they didn't respect us, they didn't give a fuck, And then you have maybe when you call the cops and they saved your life. So then there's cops do a lot of good work too, man. They but as a whole, like you said, it's its own mafia, it's its own power group, it's its own thing,
every group's got its bad apples and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Cops have these rules, right, where they can't say they back each other up, whether it's good or bad. And unfortunately, I feel like that's the bad thing of a big group. But like you said, every group has that, bro. Whether it's government, I mean, it's just human behavior, I think, more than anything.
Well, think about it, bro. I mean, we know, like some people. I mean, at least I know a couple guys from around our time in high school that are cops. And they were, they weren't shit in school, though. Like, as far as like socially, or they try to act tough, or like they'd be a little bitch, and now they're a cop, but you gotta wonder, like,
are they power tripping?
What's your mindset behind that? Yeah, what's your mindset behind that? Like, are you power tripping, and now you're gonna try to take it out on those who were like those kids that like beat your ass when you thought you were tough? Or are you really in it like to make a difference, protect and serve, and be that guy that people want to see around in uniform and like, fuck, I've had plenty of run-ins with Delmonte PD. Fucking loved Officer Jack though. You know what I mean? Like, Officer Jack was the shit, bro. And I could see some of his buddy that I fucking wouldn't tell them a train was coming if they were on the track. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just depends, I guess also your run-ins with them and what you were doing at that time.
One thing, as he said on his episode, was give respect, you get respect. A lot of them come the wrong way, and that's one thing I agreed with him on. Like, you're chilling, and they come fucking, I don't know if you guys seen it, but yeah, like, what the fuck, dude? Yeah. And so you're going to give that back, and, now as an adult, I try to keep it cool and just, hey, man. They even come aggressive. I'm like, hey, man, drive me home. It's an hour away. The address won't match, and they still give you their attitude or whatever. Just fucking kill them with kindness, hey, man. Yeah. Just trying to get home.
Yeah, bro.
At the end of the day, you're still a grown man.
No, and if the thing is, like, and they're so aggressive, imagine I just return that aggressiveness. Now I'm getting fucking, I don't know if I have warrants. I doubt it anymore, but some dumb shit, just escalates because of their attitude. You're here to protect and serve, not to come and be fucking intimidating and aggressive. Like,
yeah. But what about those countries, for instance, that like they don't have like fucking, I don't know, like in Mexico, El Salvador, they have like fucking fucked up, corrupt cop system. Like, I don't know. I feel like in a sense we still have a really good system. Whether it does have a lot of flaws. It has a lot of shit
in
to
a
fix.
sense, yes. I've never been to Mexico, right? But you go down to fucking TJ, a bullshit ass cop pulls you over. He wants 20 pesos for his lunch. So you like, give me 20 pesos and you're gone. Here, I have friends. You guys have friends that, they got me for a rolling stop. Did you do it? Like, no, dude. Because the people will tell one-on-one. They'll be like, yeah, dude. I took a red, I didn't stop make a full stop. I just took it. They're like, no, dude, fucking this guy was pressing me. And so he got me for fucking some bullshit ass whatever. That happens. So here now you got to take time out of your day to go to court. Then you can't defend yourself because they're so against it. So you got to pay for the fucking, what's it called? The public defender. And you get a $300 ticket. So is it corrupt? Just in different, longer form? Like, you're paying for this bullshit ass thing you didn't do. Where in Mexico, it's like, hey, give me my lunch money and just go on your way. So it's still... And I'm sure a lot of people listening will be like, no, that's not how it is. You're like, dude.
Yeah, but there is a quota, though. There is.
There definitely is.
Quota, right?
Yeah, they say there's not. But, I mean, why is it that always at the same time in the fucking month?
Yeah.
You see a motorcycle cop. A motorcycle cop will sit in one spot and pull over 17 motherfuckers that day.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, but our reason,
and the people arguing for it, like, do that every fucking day. Do that every day, and then people will stop doing it. But that's not what they want to do.
Yeah,
what they want to do is keep that money coming in, catch you on surprise. Why do they have speeding traps? Like once a month, the same thing on the freeways, hiding behind a billboard, hiding behind some bushes. Like, you're here to protect and serve, not to fucking entrap. In other laws, that's entrapment.
Yeah,
I heard
other countries.
In a sense, but we do have a lot more peace in the United States, bro. Like, you could walk the streets. Like, you know, regardless,
The
like
benefits of being a free country.
But
Huh?
that's most that I almost feel like, not in a bad way, Rand, but I almost feel like that's a basic thing in first world countries. That should be a right anywhere. So it's
of
not like
course, yeah.
to put us on a pedestal. That's comparing to Mexico, yes. Venezuela, yes. But if you're comparing it to England, Spain, the other great countries of the world, fucking
Yeah.
Germany's, that's a given. That's not a fucking, oh, look at us, we're great because we're doing
That's-
this.
And
That's
that,
just basic.
is that tied up too to like there's more jobs, like they economic, like, you know, people are busy here, you know. But I mean, like, again, in Mexico you might not find out who killed your fucking uncle, you know.
But
Here
certain
you
areas
might.
here, go to Detroit. They have one of the highest death rates per capita, as high up there as fucking Mexico, certain parts of Mexico, or war zones, you know, and that's in the USA.
But do they catch those guys? Do they catch
Most of the
them?
time, no.
Mm.
Most of the time, they're not
Yeah,
even
that's-
investigated.
they don't have the manpower.
Exactly. They don't have the manpower, and also the community. The community has no faith in law enforcement. They're not going to talk to anybody. Chances are it's just getting handled, you know, on the street.
That's why some people say it's not the cops. It's not always the cops. A lot of it lies at the training of the cops. Because, I mean, obviously, we've never been through academy, so we can't really speak personally about what they go through in training. But one argument I have heard is they're taught to put themselves first, like their safety first. It's always us versus them. I have a family to come home to.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna put that at risk. But at the same
That's
time,
like real
that
life.
badge that says protect and serve. You know, I think it's their training. The training. It's just like, if you're gonna sign up to be a cop, it's almost like a soldier. You know what you're signing up for. You can't use the excuse that I was scared for my life to blast somebody away because you're trigger happy. You weren't ready for it, but because they were trained that don't take any risks. Don't take any risks. That's why they draw their guns all the time.
Shoot first, ask questions later.
And that's crazy, because I think the stats are like 97% to 1, where cops do lose their life on the line, right?
Of course,
But
yeah.
overwhelmingly, they're the ones that shoot or aggravate first. And yes, sometimes they do deal with people like the worst of, you know, you don't get called on the cops don't get called because there's a little minor scuffle. It's because people are shooting, stabbing, fighting real bad, right? So when you come in, it's not the ideal situation, but this is your job. Your job is not to come here and fucking just execute people. And yet they come in, and instead of diffusing the situation, being like a problem resolver, most of the time they come in, started acting aggressive. And I get it. Some of the citizens aren't the best citizens, but this is your job. You know, any other profession, this would be unheard of. But yet, because they're the cops, they got half of the country is Blue Lives Matter, no matter what. I'm all about Blue Lives Matter, but under circumstances, they fuck up too. And they just get away with it. Proven time and time again. And then you get fired for this job for doing something, and they go to another fucking station and get the same job. Like, there's no repercussions. And I've seen it plenty of times, so it's not an original thought. But, you know, when they have take it out of their union, their money, like, you know, when they have a wrongful suit, take them where it hurts, and their money. Take it out of their retirement, pension. You know? Their pension. Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
Isn't it like 98% or some shit like that of cops that officer involved shootings that are not, they're declared like not a crime?
Yeah, they're found not guilty. That was a justified shooting.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys know the story about that kid, 10-year-old kid in Chicago that got blasted by those cops. What was his name? Tamir Rice.
Is it a fake gun?
Yeah, he was playing with the BB gun, dude. He's a kid. I'm not sure how old he was. He was a little kid. He was playing with the BB gun. These cops roll up, fucking in their squad car within like 10 feet of him, open the door and blast him. No warning, no nothing. Just fucking rolled up. Right, there's video of this of fucking cops rolling up.
Say his name again so people can look it up.
Tamir Rice.
In Chicago?
That was the name of the kid. I believe it was Chicago. So these cops roll up, like, I'm telling you, smashing through the car, fucking stop right, what looked like 10 feet from him. And it's not like he was pointing his gun at them. They just got their car, no words, no nothing, blasted him.
Make it makes you think, right? Because as a little kid, I used to play with BB guns.
Yeah,
and
that's
shit,
what I was gonna
so I was like, fuck, like that could have been me or some shit.
And it was a justified shooting.
I mean,
So-
I don't know if I'd go as far as saying like, how can you say that with a straight face that it was a justified shooting? But at the same time, it's like, look where it was at. It was Chicago or fucking anybody with the gun there usually gets no good.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, as a fucking another grown man, bro, and as somebody, as you're a cop, dog, like, you would have thought, like, hey, some questions or, you know what I mean? Like, put the gun down or fucking, you know what I mean?
But there's got to be some sort of protocol.
Hit him with a beanbag or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that shit's got that shit.
Yeah, just as a human being, right? Like you see a little kid and you're like not wanting to fucking shoot that kid, you know?
Yeah,
like,
you see, that's what I'm saying. Like you think, like, does that shit go out the window when you become a cop, or you're no longer sensitive to human life?
I believe their argument was they thought it was a grown man.
A 10-year-old.
Yeah. So they thought it was a grown man with a gun, so they felt like they needed to take action. I mean,
so it's fucking, you can shoot him in the fucking leg.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. It was. I mean, there's plenty of those cases where just because they're cops, they get let off with murder.
It's a huge organization, right? And they're tied to like with judges as well, right? And they're touched with the government, and the government uses them for what they need, and so everybody has a bunch of friends in that system, and I feel like that's why they're always going to get away with it. It's just a mafia, you know?
Yeah. I don't know, bro. It's like it's it's like here, dude. Like here, the way that the gun laws and shit go here, man, it's crazy. I mean, like the NRA just sued the state of California for doing background checks for ammo.
For ammo, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm good with that, dude. Like, I'm like, I don't think you need a background check to buy fucking ammo. Like, at the end of the day, the ammo's traceable by the firearm.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, you know.
I think what happened in that one. I don't know much about it, but I do know part of that bill was like to limit high capacity magazines, right?
Well, so
that was part of this one part of it. Yeah.
Well, it was to limit stockpiling.
Oh, was that the whole bill, or was it a bunch of little like?
There was other shit involved. Because you remember for that week for that, it was a Freedom Week they called it, when you were like, dude, like there was guys that went out and bought 200 round drums for a handgun.
Yeah.
No, I think that's fucking stupid. I have guns, like I have 30 round mags and shit like that, and loading those motherfuckers is a pain in the dick. Fucking thumb hurts later, like.
Yeah.
You know, so like, having like those high capacity shit like that, like whatever, it's cool, like to look at, but I personally wouldn't like don't care about a 200 round drum. But
yeah,
those were legal for a week. Well, everybody went out and bought 30 round mags, 40 round mags, 100 round mags, like, and then all of it got overturned. And then they were trying to say, okay, well, if you got them now, you gotta get them back, you gotta turn them in with no compensation. And then I think some judge was like, no, we're not fucking doing that because that's fucking stealing. Like, these people just went out and spent all their money on this shit. You can't just take it from them. But I think you couldn't use it, and like you can't use a 30 round mag if your rifle is not California compliant. So if it's not California compliant or registered as an assault weapon, you can't use the 30 round mags and shit like that. Like, you gotta have that, the shit where the upper comes off with lower and all this other bullshit or whatever. But I don't know, dude. Like all that shit, dude. Like people, like now, like gun sales are fucking through the roof, bro. Like they just changed the wait period from 10 days to 16 days.
Dang.
Because they can't keep up.
Yeah. I would imagine a lot of people are. I mean, it's like toilet paper, right? They're freaking out.
Supply and demand, basically economics.
Yeah.
So you wonder if people are gonna panic through this pandemic, right? Like in the next month, 2 months, or when what happens if we stop having food? I don't know. I mean, I doubt we'll get there because obviously we fed other countries and shit, but people panic about those things. People worry about
they do. Yeah, they do. And that's the thing, bro, is like, those are the people you got to worry about, the people that freak out to that extent.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll never come to your house and fucking shoot you for your fucking loaf of bread.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but there's people that just fucking feel like, you know, it's their only option because they're so small-minded. I think they're so small-minded and they're so like they freak out to that extent, man. And you got to be ready for those people, dog, because they're gonna come, homie. Like if this shit hits the fan worse than it has, I promise you're gonna see that shit. I promise you're gonna see that.
I mean, if it hits the food supply, well, we might be looking at, you know, that kind of situation because, you know, shit starts to break down. I mean, we're on uncharted waters right now. I mean, I tried having conversations with older people and like, hey, anything like this ever happened to you guys? They're like, fuck no, that's never happened. The whole world's economy essentially just fucking screeched to a halt, man. And like, people are trying to find answers and like, no, you know, this is the right answer, that's the right answer. I mean, nobody fucking knows. Nobody knows what's gonna happen.
Here's a situation also to think about. What do you guys think about, for instance, if someone was to come break it into your house and take your food? What is justifiable? Is that, if that's even a word? Like, how can you justify shooting someone for taking food?
Not in California. There's no
what I mean
standing ground law.
But what I mean is what about you guys' own opinion though? Do you think that that's fair? Like, hey, you came to my house, I get to shoot you.
He's a trespasser, and he was, you know, he was endangering your life and people around you. I don't see nothing wrong with blasting that fool.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree.
If you came into my house, bro, while I'm asleep, when my family's asleep, and I caught you in my fucking pantry taking my bread, you best believe you're gonna catch a 45 to the ribs or something. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what the fuck your intentions are at the end of the day, bro. Yeah. I don't know that you're just there to steal my food and not hurt me.
No, I'm not saying I would do that. It would depend on the situation. If obviously I could warn the person, hey, what the fuck are you doing? Get the fuck out of here before blasting them. Now that I think that's what I would do, but if obviously it's a split second, like, oh shit, he's coming after me, I'm not gonna hesitate. You know what I mean? Then it's truly self-defense.
To stop right there.
Yes.
You're almost making the argument that that's what cops do on certain times, and I would agree that, you know, like that split second decision. I agree with what you guys were saying about fucking in that moment. I'm with Kennedy. I wouldn't think about it. I think I would just react and do. And isn't that what cops do in a certain?
Well, that's why I said it's the training. It's not the cops. It's the training. I don't blame the cops. I blame the training.
It's human
I'm not
behavior.
a cop. I'm not a cop. I'm not trained to deal with those kinds of situations.
Okay, so, continue. Yeah, but there's no stand your ground law in California, right, Steven?
Yeah. Well, see, the thing is, but basically, if he's in your house, if they're in your house, and you don't shoot him in the back, you're good.
So if he's leaving, you can't shoot him, right? Like if he's
running away from me, I can't shoot him because then the threat's no longer there.
I kind of understand that. I kind of understand that.
So it's same thing as if I creep up on him and they're in my kitchen going through my drawers and he has his back turned to me and I dump him, chances are I'm gonna go to jail for murder.
Yeah, because it was in the back.
Yeah, because they could say he was running towards the window or.
Man, that's a lot of. Yeah. That's a lot of expectations to put on regular people in those situations.
Especially that don't know the law.
Yeah.
That's why you shoot below the waist.
That's a good rule.
Sure. Yeah.
All right, guys. So we're running to the same problem. It says we got 2 minutes. This is cool. But in order to save it, it takes me about 15 minutes just because of the length of it.
Yeah.
We could take a break, go pee, go do whatever, and come back, or we could just end it here.
You know, guys.
I'm down to come back. I have time, but I don't know about Izzy. I know the schedule.
What time?
Yeah, I think I know I said 10 o'clock was my hard out, but I think I'm looking at 9 o'clock might be my hard out.
9:30 Izzy. What?
I'm down to do one more. I just can't. I don't know if I can.
Yeah. Whenever you guys gotta go. Stay on your phones.
In the middle of it.
Yeah, stay on your phones. I'll send a message when I want you guys back in. Okay, it'll take about 15 minutes, probably less, but about 15. Guys. This will be, if you're listening this far, it'll be broken up into a 2-part segment just because of the Zoom. We are not upgrading to Pro. We're not going to give them our money. So this will be a 2-parter. All right. I'll see you guys in a few minutes.